Hello and welcome. My name is Mapleless, they, she, he, and this is Literally Graphic. And today we are looking at A Journal of My Father by Jirō Taniguchi. This manga and the afterwards was originally published in 1995 and translated and published in English by Ponent Mon in 2020. Translation is credited to Kumar Sivasubramanian, with special thanks for translation assistance going to Chitoku Teshima. Content notes for massive fire event, parent death, divorce, and a pet dog takes ill and dies. As far as Jirō Taniguchi goes, two of my previous reviews of his work are still live. A Zoo in Winter is based mostly on his life, but he is perhaps best known for the speculative duology A Distant Neighborhood, and I included a short biography of the mangaka in that review. Links in the cards. What kinds of keywords came to mind reading this book? Family, barber, nostalgia, separation, history, hard work, and tradition. Like almost every single other Taniguchi book I've picked up so far, A Journal of My Father is extremely preoccupied with the past, particularly family histories. Although some of his titles I have not read yet do seem to diverge from this point fairly dramatically. Not a terribly diverse story in and of itself. I feel like I keep returning to Taniguchi's work because of how different it is from other manga I read, and graphic novels in general, of course, as well as dramatically different from my own life in general. Although in some ways, especially with A Journal of My Father, it feels like one of those so specific it becomes general again sort of situations, at least with life in the 20th century. This volume feels like the most gentle and nuanced Taniguchi book I've read so far. Looking back at my review of A Zoo in Winter, I see several references to rose-tinted glasses, which felt like much less of an issue here. And while women continue to get the shortest end of the stick, in A Journal of My Father, we are moving away from blaming one parent over the other and instead grow into seeing one's parents as adults, much like ourselves, being their adult children. I don't want to say this book lacked emotion, but the way Yoichi deals with them is much less angsty and perhaps impetuous than in A Distant Neighborhood. The official summary of the book is, quote, "Know thy father." The book opens with some childhood thoughts of Yoichi Yamashita, spurred by a phone call at work informing him of his father's death. So he journeys back to his hometown after an absence of well over a decade, during which time he has not seen his father. But as the relatives gather for the funeral and the stories start to flow, Yoichi's childhood starts to resurface. The spring afternoons playing on the floor of his father's barber shop, the fire that ravaged the city and his family home, his parents' divorce, and a new mother. Through confidences and memories shared with those who knew him best, Yoichi rediscovers the man he had long considered an absent and rather cold father. End quote. The artistic style continues to be pretty quintessential Taniguchi. There are a lot of characters that look fairly similar from book to book, of what I've read, although the characters in each story look different enough that I didn't have trouble telling them apart. There's a lot of nice detail as well, and the page layouts are pleasing and easy to follow. As I already said, not the most intersectional title in the world, by which I mean not at all. I should note that the original title was written in the 90s, when it might have still seemed possible to do better than your parents did. As many other reviewers have pointed out, it is very boomer. Looking back at my star rating for other Taniguchi titles, I think I will continue with the average that is appearing and rate this title good, aka 3 out of 5 stars. Bye y'all, keep reading, and organized and capitalist oppression. And Literally Graphic is created on land that should be given back to the traditional landholders, which in this case is, to my knowledge, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, an Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation.